The Galactic Freeway. The cockpit of Tom's aging freighter, the Wayfarer, was lit only by the soft glow of instrument panels and the distant starlight that slipped through the viewport. As a lone space trucker, Tom had grown accustomed to the silence of the galactic void, broken only by the occasional crackle of his radio. Today, however, the radio was unusually active. An old friend, Jake, also a trucker but far more boisterous and company-loving than Tom, had patched in for a rare space-to-space chat. "Tom, you old rascal, how's the void treating you? Still playing hermit out there?" Jake's voice was a welcome interruption. Tom chuckled, adjusting the frequency to clear up some static. "The void's fine, Jake. Quiet, just how I like it. What's your position?" "Ah, just passing by Orion's belt. You wouldn't believe the traffic here. It's like every trader in the galaxy decided to converge at this spot. How about you? Where are you headed?" "Edge of the Vega sector. Got a haul of engine parts for the colonies there. It's smooth sailing. Well, as smooth as it gets out here." As they conversed, Tom maneuvered the Wayfarer deftly through an asteroid field, his hands steady on the controls. Despite the casual nature of their conversation, his eyes never left the viewport, always watching, always alert. "You ever think about switching routes, Tom? There's a whole galaxy out there, places with folks who don't just grunt or nod when you talk to them." Tom's laugh echoed in the compact space. "And miss all this beautiful emptiness? Not a chance. Besides, someone's got to keep the gears turning out here." Their friendly banter was cut short by a distress signal abruptly pinging on Tom's console, a sharp, urgent beeping that demanded immediate attention. The signal was weak, indicating it was both old and far. Tom's expression turned serious instantly. "Jake, I've got to cut this short. Picking up a distress call. Could be a stranded ship or just old echoes bouncing off a moon, but I need to check it out." "Need any backup?" Jake's tone matched Tom's in seriousness. "No, I'll handle it. Probably nothing, but you know how it is." "Sure thing, buddy. Be careful, though. You're a good man, Tom. Don't go risking your neck for shadows." Tom plotted a course toward the signal, the engines of the Wayfarer humming as they adjusted to the new trajectory. As the asteroids became fewer and space opened up, the faint outline of a small craft appeared on his radar, adrift and seemingly lifeless. Approaching cautiously, Tom scanned the vessel. It was smaller than his freighter, sleek but battered, the design unfamiliar but clearly not human. As he prepared to dock, he broadcast his intention. "This is Tom Hawkins aboard the Wayfarer. I received your distress call and am here to assist. Please respond." Silence followed, the static of the open channel the only reply. With practiced movements, Tom suited up for a potential boarding, his mind racing through scenarios. Who was aboard? What had happened to them? As he floated through the vacuum toward the silent vessel, the weight of his solitude in the vastness of space pressed against him. Yet, the potential of encountering a new life form, possibly making first contact, replaced his apprehension with a spark of curiosity. Reaching the airlock of the alien ship, Tom prepared to face whatever awaited him on the other side. The hatch creaked open, and he stepped into the unknown. Chapter 2. The Unplanned Stop. Tom's boots clanked against the metal flooring of the alien ship as he ventured inside. The interior was dim, lit only by emergency lighting that cast long shadows down the narrow corridor. He kept his helmet on, unsure of the air quality or if any potential biohazards might be present. As he moved further into the craft, his handheld scanner beeped intermittently, picking up signs of life. "There's someone still here," he muttered to himself, both anxious and intrigued. The signal led him to a small control room where he found the alien, a petite figure slumped against a control panel. She was unlike any species Tom had encountered before. Her skin was a luminescent pale blue, with subtle hints of silver that seemed to ripple with her breathing. Carefully, Tom approached, speaking gently. "Hey, I'm here to help. Can you understand me?" The alien stirred, her large, opalescent eyes blinking open slowly. She looked at him, confusion and fear evident in her gaze. Her voice was a soft melodic whisper. "Help." "Yes, need help." Tom's translator kicked in, smoothing over the linguistic barriers. "I'm Tom. What's your name?" "Mira," she replied, her voice gaining a bit of strength. Using his medkit, Tom administered first aid, fixing up a few minor wounds. As he worked, he tried to keep the conversation going to learn more about her and her ship's predicament. "Mira, what happened to your ship?" "Engine failure. Lost navigation. Drifted here," Mira explained, her fingers lightly touching a pendant around her neck as if drawing comfort from it. Once Tom was sure she was stable, he guided her back to the Wayfarer. "I'll tow your ship to the nearest port. You can stay in my guest cabin for now." Mira nodded, her gaze lingering on the vast window in the Wayfarer's common area, where stars streaked by. The sight seemed to fascinate her, a stark contrast to the fear she had shown earlier. Back in his ship, Tom contacted Jake again, updating him on the situation. "Got a guest, Jake. Her ship's in bad shape, but she's okay." "That's good to hear, Tom. Need me to swing by and help out?" "I think we've got it covered for now." "Thanks though," Tom replied, appreciative of the offer. As they prepared for the longer journey to the port, Tom showed Mira around the Wayfarer. He explained the basics of human space travel, and she listened intently, her curiosity piqued. "What brings you so far from your home?" Tom asked as they shared a meal in the small dining area. "I am a trader. Or was. I travel to collect unique items and knowledge. My ship is my home." Myra's eyes saddened a bit, her glance drifting to a hologram of a vibrant, green planet displayed on her locket. "We'll get your ship fixed, Mira." "No worries there," Tom reassured her, trying to lift her spirits. The conversation turned to tales of their respective journeys. Tom shared stories of distant human colonies and the wild frontiers of space, while Mira spoke of the various cultures she'd encountered, her descriptions filled with wonder and an evident love for exploration. Their shared journey through the void of space began to forge a bond between them, built on mutual respect and the thrill of discovery. Though from different worlds, they found common ground in their roles as voyagers among the stars. Chapter 3. First Contact. The hum of the Wayfarer's engines provided a steady backdrop as Tom and Mira made their way towards the designated port. Mira had grown more comfortable aboard Tom's ship, fascinated by its human-centric technologies and design. "Tom, how did you come to be a trucker in space?" Mira asked, her tone curious, as they sat in the cockpit looking out at the star-speckled blackness. "It's a family thing, I suppose. My father was a pilot, and I grew up listening to his stories about the cosmos. It was only natural I'd follow in his footsteps, but instead of exploration, I chose trading and hauling," Tom explained, his hands relaxed on the controls. "And do you ever regret not choosing exploration?" Mira continued, her head tilting slightly as she studied him. "Not really. Every delivery is an adventure. You never know what or who you'll come across," Tom said, giving her a meaningful look, which drew a small smile from Mira. Their conversation was interrupted by an incoming transmission. Tom flicked the switch, and the voice of another human, Captain Diaz, filled the cockpit. "This is Captain Diaz of the Port Authority. We have you on our approach vector, Wayfarer. Please transmit your cargo manifest and any passenger documentation." Tom responded promptly, providing the necessary information while introducing Mira as his passenger and explaining her situation briefly. She's had some trouble with her ship. We're towing it in for repairs. Understood. Wayfarer. We'll have the docking bay ready for you, and we'll prepare to receive the alien vessel. Welcome, Mira, Captain Diaz replied, his tone warm. As they neared the port, Myra's anxiety became apparent. What will happen once we arrive? Will they treat me differently because I'm not human? Tom glanced at her, his expression reassuring. This port sees a lot of diverse traffic. They're used to dealing with different species. You'll be treated with respect, just like anyone else. Mira nodded, taking comfort from his words. They spent the next few hours preparing for arrival, Tom explaining the standard docking procedures and the typical bureaucratic process that would follow. Upon arrival, the vastness of the port impressed Mira. It was a bustling hub of activity, with ships of all sizes and shapes coming and going. Tom guided the Wayfarer smoothly into its assigned docking bay, the larger ship still towing Myra's smaller craft. As they disembarked, they were greeted by Captain Diaz, a tall man with a commanding presence but a friendly smile. "Welcome to our port, Mira. We've been briefed about your situation. Our technicians will start on your ship immediately." "Thank you, Captain Diaz. Your hospitality is much appreciated," Mira responded, her voice steadier than she felt. "Tom, if you and your passenger would follow me, we need to go through some formalities to get her settled legally as a temporary resident," Diaz continued, leading them through the port's busy corridors to the administration offices. The process was efficient, with Mira being granted a temporary visa that allowed her to stay at the port while her ship was being repaired. Tom stayed by her side throughout, helping to bridge any cultural misunderstandings. Afterward, as they walked through the commercial section of the port, Mira was visibly relieved. "I was worried for nothing. They were very kind. That's been my experience here. Come on, let's get something to eat." "You need to try some human food," Tom suggested, leading her to a popular eatery known for its diverse menu catering to many species. As they sat down to eat, surrounded by the hum of alien dialects and the clatter of cutlery, Mira looked at Tom with gratitude. "Thank you for not leaving me to handle this alone." "Hey, what are friends for?" Tom grinned, raising his glass in a toast to new adventures and new friendships, forging a deeper connection in this unexpected journey. Chapter 4. Sharing Worlds. Tom and Mira settled into a rhythm over the next few days as her ship underwent repairs. The port, a crossroads of cultures and species, provided a perfect backdrop for them to deepen their understanding of each other's worlds. One afternoon, as they strolled through one of the port's many marketplaces, Tom pointed out various human culinary delights at a food stall. "You've got to try this chocolate. It's a favorite back on Earth," he said, handing her a small, dark piece. Mira examined it curiously, then took a tentative bite. Her eyes lit up with delight. "It's sweet and rich. I've never tasted anything like it." Tom chuckled. "Glad you like it. Food's a big part of human culture. It's how we connect, celebrate, and comfort ourselves." As they continued walking, Mira shared tales of her own travels, describing the vibrant markets on a planet where bioluminescent plants lit up the night, and festivals where beings from different systems shared music that resonated through the very air. Their discussions often ventured into the realm of space travel technologies, where Tom expressed a fascination with the advanced, albeit now malfunctioning, tech of Myra's ship. "How does your navigation system work? It must be quite advanced to travel between the stars so efficiently," he inquired as they sat at a cafe overlooking the docking bays. "It's based on quantum entanglement. Each ship is paired with a beacon at a fixed point, and the system calculates the position relative to that. It's usually very reliable," Mira explained, sketching diagrams on a napkin to illustrate her points. Impressive. Human tech is more brute force and less elegance. We push through space with sheer power, Tom mused, appreciating the elegance of her technology. Later, they joined a group of engineers from various species at a local bar, where discussions about technology and space exploration flowed as freely as the drinks. Tom introduced Mira as a trader with knowledge of different planetary tech, and soon she was animatedly discussing propulsion theories with a group that included a couple of human engineers. You know, Tom, you should consider integrating some of this tech into the Wayfarer. It could improve your efficiency by leaps and bounds, one engineer, a human named Carl, suggested after Mira explained a cooling system used in her ship. Tom raised an eyebrow, intrigued. I'll think about it. Might need your expertise, though. What do you say, Carl? Up for a little side project? Carl laughed, clapping Tom on the back. Count me in. It's not every day you get to work on a ship that's seen as much of the galaxy as yours. As the evening wound down, Mira and Tom found themselves walking back to the Wayfarer, their path lit by the multicolored lights of the port. Mira stopped, looking up at the stars visible through the transparent dome above them. It's beautiful, isn't it? The diversity out here, she said, her voice reflective. Tom nodded, following her gaze. It is. And it's easy to forget sometimes when you're rushing from one job to the next. Thanks for reminding me to look around more. Mira smiled, her expression softening. And thank you for showing me the warmth of human friendship, Tom. It's more valuable than you know. They continued their walk in comfortable silence, each lost in thoughts of the vast and varied universe they were both a part of, and how, despite their differences, they had found common ground and friendship among the stars. Chapter 5. A Gesture of Gratitude. As Myra's ship neared completion of its repairs, she became increasingly thoughtful, her mind occupied with how she could express her gratitude to Tom for his unwavering support and kindness. One evening, while they were watching the sunset from the observation deck of the port, she broached the subject. Tom, I've been thinking a lot about how much you've helped me, Mira began, her voice laced with sincerity. In my culture, when someone saves your life or offers significant help, we have a tradition to express our deepest gratitude. Tom looked at her, intrigued. What kind of tradition? Mira pulled from her bag a small, intricately carved box. It's customary to present a personal artifact, something that carries great meaning or history. She opened the box to reveal a small, shimmering stone that seemed to pulse with an inner light. This is a Lum-Era stone, from my home world. It's considered a protector, a guide through darkness. Tom was taken aback, his eyes wide with admiration for the beautiful stone. Mira, this is too much. You don't have to. But I want to, Mira interrupted gently. You've done so much for me, and I want you to have this. Tom accepted the gift, his hand brushing against hers as he did so. Thank you, Mira. I'm honored. The exchange deepened the bond between them, and they spent the rest of the evening sharing more personal stories and legends from their respective worlds. As the night grew deeper, they found themselves in a quiet corner of a popular spaceport bar, surrounded by the low hum of other patrons conversing. Ever think about what you'll do once your ship is fixed? Tom asked, sipping his drink. Mira pondered the question. I suppose I'll resume my travels, but... Her voice trailed off, her gaze lingering on Tom. But... Tom prompted, sensing her hesitation. I've grown to appreciate having a companion. Traveling alone isn't as appealing as it once was, she confessed. Tom smiled, touched by her admission. There's plenty of space on the Wayfarer if you ever want company. Or a partner, perhaps. Myra's eyes sparkled at the offer. I might just take you up on that, Tom. Their conversation was interrupted by Carl, the engineer who had become a frequent companion during their evenings out. "Hey, you two! Planning new adventures already?" Carl joked as he joined them with his own drink. "Just discussing possibilities," Tom replied with a wink at Mira. Carl raised his glass. "To possibilities, then. May they always lead us to starlit paths." They toasted, the warmth of their camaraderie filling the air. As the night continued, Tom and Mira joined Carl and other spacefarers in a lively exchange of tales and experiences. Each story shared added layers to their understanding of the vast universe they inhabited. As the bar began to close, Tom and Mira walked back to the Wayfarer, their steps slow, not eager to end the night. "You know, Mira, having you here makes the galaxy seem a bit smaller, a bit friendlier," Tom said, his voice soft under the canopy of stars. Mira nodded, her hand finding his. "And you've shown me the warmth of human connections. I'm more grateful than I can say." Their path back to the ship was filled with comfortable silence, each content in the presence of the other, their hearts light with the joy of newfound connections and the anticipation of shared futures. Chapter 6. Intimate Moments. As Myra's departure date loomed closer, the atmosphere between her and Tom shifted subtly. Both were keenly aware of the impending change in their dynamic, and neither seemed eager to address it directly. Instead, they spent their remaining time together soaking in each other's company, sharing meals, walks around the port, and quiet evenings on the Wayfarer. One such evening, after a dinner where they had laughed and reminisced over their recent adventures, they found themselves on the observation deck of Tom's ship, watching the nebulae swirl in hues of deep purple and fiery orange against the black canvas of space. "You know, I never really appreciated these views until you shared them with me," Mira said, her voice soft, her eyes not leaving the vibrant colors outside the viewport. Tom turned to look at her, the ambient light casting shadows across her delicate features. "There's a lot we miss when we're focused on just getting through the day-to-day," he replied thoughtfully. The distance between them seemed to close as they stood in silence, absorbing the cosmic spectacle. It was Tom who broke the quiet. "Mira, have you thought about staying? Not just on the Wayfarer, but with me?" Mira turned to face him, her expression unreadable for a moment before a gentle smile formed on her lips. "I have, more than I thought I would. It's strange, this feeling. I'm used to always moving on, but with you, I feel like I've found a reason to stay." Encouraged by her words, Tom reached out to touch her hand, his fingers lightly brushing hers. "Then stay," he said simply, the weight of his decision clear in his voice. Mira stepped closer, her hand now firmly in his. She looked up into his eyes, searching for reassurance. Finding it, she leaned in and pressed her lips to his in a tentative kiss. It was a simple gesture, but it sparked a warmth that spread through them both. As they pulled away, their eyes locked, and without a word, they moved closer to one another. Their next kiss was deeper, fueled by the weeks of growing closeness and the unspoken fears of impending separation. Tom's hands moved to cup her face gently, his thumbs caressing her cheeks. The kiss deepened, becoming a physical conversation filled with the words neither had dared to speak. Myra's arms wrapped around Tom's neck, pulling him closer, her body pressing against his. The connection felt electric, charged with the energy of the stars they sailed among. After a long moment, they parted slightly, foreheads resting against each other, breaths mingling. "I don't want to assume too much about tonight," Tom whispered, his voice a mix of hope and caution. Mira responded by tightening her grip on him, her voice steady. "I'm here because I want to be Tom. Tonight, I'm not thinking about tomorrow." With a mutual understanding, they walked hand in hand back to Tom's quarters. The room was dimly lit, the only illumination coming from the soft light of distant stars outside. They moved together towards the bed, their movements unhurried but filled with intent. As they lay down, Tom kissed Mira again, his hands exploring the contours of her back, her sides, each touch a discovery. Mira responded with equal curiosity, her fingers tracing the lines of his jaw, down his neck, learning the texture and warmth of his skin. Their exploration was gentle, a dance of mutual respect and burgeoning desire, as they navigated this new intimacy. Each kiss, each touch, deepened their connection, binding them closer in the silent language of shared moments and tender discoveries under the watchful gaze of the cosmos. Chapter 7. Challenges and Reflections. As the dawn light began to seep through the viewport, Tom and Mira lay awake, each lost in contemplation of the night's revelations and the complexities their choices might bring. Mira, Tom broke the silence, his voice reflecting a mixture of contentment and concern. We need to consider what this means for us going forward. Mira turned to face him, her expression thoughtful. I know. As much as last night felt right, I'm aware there are challenges we can't ignore. Tom nodded, sitting up and pulling a blanket around his shoulders. For starters, our lives are very different. You're a traveler by nature, and I'm tied to my routes here. Yes, and there's more, Mira added, sitting up beside him. Our cultures, our responsibilities. I can't abandon my commitments to trading, just as you can't suddenly leave your routes. Tom reached out, taking her hand. Maybe we don't need to make drastic changes. Maybe it's about finding a balance, a way to weave our lives together, piece by piece. Mira squeezed his hand, smiling slightly. I like that idea. We could start small, plan routes that intersect more often, or schedule joint ventures. Exactly, Tom replied, his mind already racing through logistical possibilities. I can talk to my contacts about extending my routes or exploring new trade options that might benefit both of us. The room was silent for a moment as they both considered the potential of their plans. It was Mira who spoke next, her voice filled with a hint of excitement. And I could look into rare commodities that could be of interest along your routes. It would give us a project to work on together, something that ties our journeys into one. Tom laughed softly. Look at us, planning a future over morning light like we're strategizing a business merger. Isn't that what relationships are, in a way? Mira countered playfully. A merger of lives and dreams? Their light-hearted banter eased some of the tension, and they continued to discuss ideas over breakfast, sketching out rough plans on a digital pad, their enthusiasm growing with each possibility. Later that day, they took their conversation to Carl, the engineer who had become a friend and collaborator. They found him in the port's main engineering bay, buried under a hood of wires and panels. "Carl, got a minute?" Tom called out as they approached. Carl emerged, wiping his hands on a rag. "For my favorite space couple? Always. What's up?" Tom shared their ideas about expanding routes and integrating trade ventures. Carl listened, nodding thoughtfully. "It sounds like a solid plan. It'll require some coordination with port authorities, and maybe some upgrades to the Wayfarer to handle different types of cargo. But it's doable." Mira chimed in, and I can provide insights into alien tech that might boost efficiency or appeal to new trading partners. Carl grinned. "I like where this is heading. Count me in on the tech side. I've been itching to tinker with something new." The meeting turned into an impromptu brainstorming session, with Carl offering technical advice and contacts that could help. As they talked, Tom felt a sense of accomplishment and potential that he hadn't experienced in years. As the day wound down, Tom and Mira found themselves back at the observation deck, looking out at the bustling activity of the port. "Today felt good," Mira said. "Talking, planning. It's like we're building something together." Tom wrapped an arm around her shoulders. "We are building something, Mira. Together." He kissed her forehead, and they stood in silence, watching the galaxy spin on, their future unwritten but promising, as vast and varied as the stars themselves. Chapter 8. A New Dawn. On the morning Myra's ship was finally ready, The air between her and Tom was filled with a quiet tension, a mix of anticipation and reluctance to change the comfortable pattern they had established. They stood together in the hangar, watching as technicians applied the final touches to her sleek vessel. "It looks good as new," Tom remarked, trying to keep his tone light, though his heart felt heavy at the thought of her leaving. Mira turned to face him, her expression mirroring his mixed emotions. "It does, thanks to you. But I've been thinking, Tom, about all our plans, our conversations." Tom looked at her, hope flickering in his eyes. "What about them?" "I don't want to just plan future meetings or coordinate trade routes," Mira said slowly, each word deliberate. "I want to be part of this life with you, not just intersect with it occasionally." Tom's heart skipped a beat. "Are you saying—" "I'm saying I want to stay, Tom. Here, with you, on the Wayfarer. At least for now," she clarified, her own voice revealing a hint of nervousness about her bold decision. A broad smile spread across Tom's face, transforming it with relief and joy. "I was hoping you'd say that. Of course, you can stay as long as you like. This ship, my journey, it's all better with you here." They embraced, a long, tight hug that spoke volumes about their relief and happiness. After a moment, they stepped apart, and Tom gestured towards the exit of the hangar. "Come on, let's go finalize everything. We have a few forms to fill out to make your stay official, and then we can start really planning our route together." As they walked towards the port administration offices, they discussed potential destinations, trading posts, and even possible upgrades to the Wayfarer that could accommodate Myra's needs and preferences. The conversation was lively, filled with laughter and playful debates about which star systems had the best commodities. Once the paperwork was completed, a sense of officialdom sealing their new arrangement, they decided to celebrate their partnership with dinner at the port's best restaurant. The place was bustling with diverse beings, a microcosm of the galaxy's varied inhabitants, and it felt fitting for their own blend of human and alien union. During dinner, Tom raised his glass, his eyes sparkling with happiness. "To new beginnings and uncharted paths." Mira clinked her glass against his, her smile radiant. "To the journey ahead, wherever it may lead us." After dinner, as they walked back to the Wayfarer, the port's lights twinkled against the backdrop of the deep space, a silent witness to their small, personal milestone within the vast universe. Back aboard their ship, standing before the wide viewport in the main deck, they watched a freighter pass by, its engines glowing faintly in the distance. Mira leaned against Tom, her head resting on his shoulder. "This feels right," she murmured, her voice content. "It does," Tom agreed, his arm wrapping around her. "It feels like the start of something incredible." As they stood there, the galaxy spinning its ancient dance around them, Tom and Mira felt a profound sense of belonging, not just to each other, but to the space they shared, the life they were building, and the endless possibilities that lay stretched out before them like the starlit paths of the universe. Their future was as bright as the constellations overhead, a tapestry of dreams and shared adventures that was just beginning to unfold.